For my third video tutorial, we're going to be continuing with the Big Brother theme and working on Nicole today. And I'll be working on a standard loom in the offset position, and I will be using slightly pinkish skin tone bands from the skin tone pack, gold, white, brown, light blue, and yellow. And again, these light blue, because I don't have very many, I am using the Rainbow Braid glow in the dark bands. So we'll start with the arms. In the picture, she's wearing a sweater that I don't have the exact color bands, so I'm going to be using two different color bands on the loom at once. I'll be using gold and brown. I'm going to start from the 6th peg from the bottom, going down to the 5th peg from the bottom. And I'm going to put one gold band and one brown band. And the same again, a gold and one brown, and a gold and one brown. And then I'm going to put two skin tone and two more skin tone, and I'm going to cap this with a single pink skin tone band wrapped 3 times. And we're going to do the same on the other side. 6th peg from the bottom with a gold band, and on the same peg a brown band, one single gold band with one brown band on top, and again one gold band and one brown band, and then 2 bands of the pink skin tone, 2 more bands of the pink skin tone, capped with a single pink skin tone band wrapped 3 times. And now we're ready to loom this. So I will go in under the cap band and loop up to the top. And the same thing on the other side. And then I will take a spare crochet hook and remove these from the loom. And I will set this aside. Now we are going to make the legs and the boots, and for that I am going to use 2 skin tone bands from the 4th peg from the bottom to the 3rd peg from the bottom, and then 2 dark brown bands for the boots, and 2 more dark brown bands capped with a single dark brown band wrapped 3 times. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. 2 pink skin tone bands, followed by 2 brown bands and 2 more brown bands, capped with a single brown band wrapped 3 times. And we can loop this. All the way to the top, making sure we get both bands and that we have the teardrop or raindrop shape. And now I will get my holding hook and remove these from the loom. Now I'm going to make the ears and the nose, and these are the same as my other characters. We're going to take a single pink skin tone band and wrap it around our hook 3 times, and another single pink skin tone band. We're going to double it and thread it onto these 3 bands, and that's one ear. The other ear, a single pink skin tone band, wrap it around the hook 3 times, a single pink skin tone band, double it, and thread the 3 bands from the hook onto the doubled band. That's our 2 ears. I will add those to the hook. And now we'll do the nose. A single pink skin tone band. I'm going to double it and wrap it around the hook 3 times. I'm going to take another single pink skin tone band, double it, and thread these bands onto itself again. And this is our nose, and I will put this on the holding hook. For the eyes, I'm going to use E-beads, and I am using the grass that you would put in an Easter basket. You can use dental floss or whatever works for you. I find this to be the best. You cannot break it, so I'm going to take a white band and double it, thread in the end of the floss, and slide a bead down onto the end. And then onto the white band. You can use bands for the eyes, in which case you would just wrap a double loop band of your choice in color around your hook 3 times, and then thread it onto a double loop white band. Another double loop white band, threading in the end of the floss, and sliding the bead down onto the end and onto the band. And I will tuck my hook into the 2 loops and catch the other 2. And those are our eyes, and we are going to thread it onto a single loop pink skin tone band and then back onto itself. And I am going to put these on a holding hook. And now we are going to do her hair. And for her hair, I'm using yellow bands. And what I'm going to do is take a single yellow band, wrap it around my hook 2 times, and then I want to thread onto this 6 single yellow bands. So I'm going to take my 2 loops and pull them through. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I'm going to set this aside. Okay, so we should all have 6 hair extensions. each with 6 loops. We're going to set this aside. And now we're ready to band the loom. So we are going to take 2 yellow bands from the first peg in the center to the second peg in the center, 2 from the first peg in the center to the first peg on the left, 2 yellow bands from the first to the second on the left, and the second to the third on the left. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. 2 yellow bands from the center to the right, 2 yellow bands from the first on the right to the second peg on the right, and 2 yellow bands from the second on the right to the third on the right. Now we're going to go to our skin tone bands, and we are using the pink tinged bands from the skin tone pack, and we're going to go down 3 times with 2 pink bands. And now we need 3 pink bands for the neck, and we are going to put 2 pink bands from the third peg on the left to the fourth peg on the left, 2 pink bands from the third peg on the right to the fourth peg on the right, and we're going to close off the face by putting 2 pink bands from the fourth peg on the left to the fifth peg in the center, and the same with the other side, the fourth peg on the left to the fifth peg in the center. And again, for the sweater, we're using gold and brown. So I'm going to put 1 gold band down the center with a brown band on top. And we're going to do that 3 times down the center. 1 gold band, 1 brown band, 1 gold band, 1 brown band. And we will do the same for the shoulders. 1 gold band, 1 brown band, and this is from the 6th peg in the center to the 7th peg on the left. And we're going to go down 3 times. 1 gold band, 1 brown band, 1 gold band, 1 brown band, 1 gold band, and 1 brown band. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. 1 gold band, 1 brown band, and down 3 times. 1 gold, 1 brown. In order for this to loom properly, you need to put the gold and then the brown. I had initially tried it doing 3 gold bands and then 3 brown bands, but it doesn't loop properly when you do it that way. So you need to put the gold band first, or the brown band first, it doesn't really matter which, and then the brown band. And now we are going to do her shorts, and for that we're using light blue, and we put 2 light blue bands down the center, 2 light blue bands on the left, 2 more light blue bands on the left, 2 light blue bands on the right, followed by 2 more. And now we're going to close off the shorts, going from the last peg with a band in the center, over and up 1 peg to the left, and the last peg up 1 to the right with 2 bands. We're going to cap this with a single blue band wrapped 3 times. Now we will add the skin tone bands for her legs. So we're going to put 2 skin tone bands on the right, followed by 2 more. And we'll do the same thing on the left. 2 skin tone bands, followed by 2 skin tone bands. And now we can check that we've banded this properly. I have 2 yellow bands from the top center to the left and down 2, top center to the right and down 2, top center and down 1 with 2 yellow bands. Then I have 3 links of 2 pink skin tone bands, 1 link of 2 skin tone bands on the left, 1 link of 2 skin tone bands on the right. I've closed off the face with 2 pink skin tone bands from the 4th peg on the left to the 5th peg in the center, and the 4th peg on the right to the 5th peg in the center. We've used 3 pink skin tone bands for the neck. For the sweater, we've used a gold band and a brown band, one on top of the other, from the 6th peg in the center to the 7th peg on the left, the 6th peg in the center to the 7th peg on the right, and then each pin has gone down 3 times with 1 gold and 1 brown band. For the shorts, we've got 2 light blue bands going down from the center, 2 links of light blue bands going down on the left, 2 going down on the right, and 2 from the 4th peg up from the bottom in the center to the 5th peg on the left, and the 4th peg from the bottom in the center to the 5th peg on the right. And now we're ready for the holding bands. And I am going to use a single yellow band in a triangle shape from the 1st peg on the left and right around the 2nd peg in the center. I will put a skin tone band in an upside down triangle shape from the 2nd peg on the left and right around the 3rd peg in the center. Skipping the next pegs, the 3rd pegs down, this is where the eyes will go and they will hold the face together. We are going to put an upright triangle shape around the 4th pegs on the left and right and the 4th peg in the center. For the sweater, we will use brown bands, and this is going to go around the 8th peg on the left and right and around the 7th peg in the center, the 9th peg on the left and right to the 8th peg in the center, and a light blue band around the 10th peg on the left and right and the 9th peg in the center. And now we're ready for our attachments. So the first one I have here is my nose, but I attach that later. So we're going to attach the ears, and they go on the 2nd peg down from the top on the left, and the 2nd peg down from the top on the right. And now I have the boots, which are attached to the last peg on the left and the last peg on the right. And the arms on the 7th peg on the left and the 7th peg on the right. And now to attach the eyes. They go on the 3rd peg down on the left from the top, and the 3rd peg down on the right. And we're going to separate the eyes. I'm going to grab one of the 2 bands in between the eyes and pull it up over the 3rd peg from the top and position the eyes. And now to attach the hair, I'm going to put 1 extension on the 1st peg on the left, 1 on the 2nd peg on the left, and 1 on the 3rd peg on the left. I'm going to do the same on the other side and attach 1 extension on the 1st peg, 1 extension on the 2nd peg, and 1 extension on the 3rd peg. And now, as I said with the first 2 characters that I've done from Big Brother, I haven't made these yet. I've only designed them. I haven't tried looming them, and I can see right away that this hair is not going to be as long as her hair is in the picture. So what I would like to do is remove these last 2 extensions, and I am going to add a few more links of yellow. So we can do, how about 3 or 4 more links? 1, 2, 3. Stretch this out. It's going to go there. That would be long enough. So 3 links, and we'll attach that back on the 3rd peg down. And we are going to add 3 bands to the other one. 1, 2, 3. And we will attach this to the right side. And now we're ready to loop. I'm going to grab the top 2 bands, which are going to be going to the right, and the next 2 are going to the left, and the last one goes up once. And now we're going to loop from the bottom all the way up to the neck, being careful to grab both bands and making sure that we have the teardrop or raindrop shape. And all the way under the arms, only grabbing the bottom 2 bands, and on the right side we will go all the way to the neck. Again, making sure we grab both bands and that we stay inside the holding bands and that we have the teardrop or raindrop shape. And now we will finish looping up the center. For the neck, make sure that you have all 3 bands. and then we will grab the top 2 bands, which go to the right. The next 2 bands go to the left, and then 2 up to the center. And now we will loop to the top, making sure we only grab the bottom 2 bands and not the eye bands or the holding bands. And the last 2. And on the right side, staying inside the hair extension bands and the eye band, and grabbing just 2 bands. And then we will loop up the center. I forgot to mention we'll be adding the mouth after when we take this off the loom. And to add the nose, I'm going to just slide it onto these bands, going to the 3rd peg down in the center. And then I will continue looping to the top. So I'm going to take a yellow band. I'm going to reach in through all of these bands and pull this yellow band through and make a slip knot. And I'm going to give it a little tug, not too tight, it will break. And now we're ready to remove this from the loom. Again from the bottom so we don't stretch the figure very much. Being careful not to break the bands. And when you get to a spot like the neck, you might want to put your hook in and just slide it around the peg so that those bands come off more easily. And the rest should come off fairly easily. And there we go. Now this one is going to need some more tweaking. Start at the bottom and do her legs and her feet first. I would like for her boots to be pointing outward, so I put my hook in the teardrop after the cap band and tug to the side. The same thing on the other side. Just give it a little tug so the toe is pointing outward. I'm going to squeeze her hips a little bit. Now normally I would have double banded the holding band around her waist, but she has quite a baggy sweater on and I didn't want to distort that look. So I'm just squeezing her waist a little bit. I'm going to fix these toe bands here, on the cap band on the toe. Make them a little more even. There we go. Now I want her arms down, so I'm going to put my hook into the teardrop and just give a little tug. And that will make the arm go down a bit. You can also use your hands to pull it down. Same thing on the other side. Just give a little tug. I'm going to bend her elbow here by doing the same thing, putting my hook in the teardrop and giving a little tug. Now for her hair, it's going to be a little curly and unruly because we've used single bands, but double bands just really would not look right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my hook and put it through the second loop from the face and grab the 2 loops of the cap band and pull it through those 2. And then I'm going to put my hook through the second loop from the cheek, grab the 2 loops of the cap band and pull that through. And with this middle band, we are going to, in the 3rd loop, we're going to grab the ends of the cap band and pull that through. And then we're just going to straighten these out as best we can. And it's okay if it stays a little unruly. Nobody has perfect hair. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We are going to take the center band, put our hook through the second loop from the face, grab onto the 2 loops of the cap band on the extension above, and pull this extension through. And we're going to repeat that on the bottom. Put the hook through the second loop from the face, grab the 2 loops of the cap band and pull this through. And we're going to do the same thing with the center extension. This time we're going through the 3rd loop or teardrop from the face on the bottom extension and pulling that through. And then we're just going to adjust it. Adjust her hair. And you can fiddle with it. I'm going to pull one of these unruly bands through just one time here and try to get her hair to go the way I want it to. And we just need to play with it and fiddle with it until it looks the way you like. Maybe I should just give her a ponytail. But anyways, we'll give her waist a little squeeze again and adjust her arm. It fell down. And we were going to add a mouth, so I will grab a skin tone band and a C-clip. I'm going to put my hook through the mouth area from the back to the front and pull the band through to the back. I'm going to put my hook through the other side from the back to the front and grab a hold of the other end of this band and pull it through to the back. And then I will take my C-clip and secure these bands. And then I can remove my hook and adjust her mouth. And if you didn't catch my last tutorial on Frankie, I've stolen this technique for the mouth using the C-clip from Cheryl Ann Spinelli, and I actually really prefer this one to attaching it as we did the nose when I'm looming, so it just makes for a better look. So thank you, Cheryl, for sharing. And I'm going to fiddle with her hair a little bit more, but you can do the same thing and just tuck the ends through any part of the length of the extension until you can get it to lay the way that you want it to. Once we have the mouth attached, we have to make some glasses for Nicole. She does wear glasses, and what I'm going to do is take a black twist tie, or whatever color you might have. You could use a white one and color it with a marker, or whatever you would like to do. And we're just going to twist this twist tie into the shape of a pair of glasses. So I've got one side, and I'm going to twist this other side. Trying to make sure they're approximately the same size. And then I'm going to fold the end back to make an arm. And the same on this side. I will fold that back to make an arm. And there's the glasses. I'm going to attach them by just picking a spot beside her eyes and carefully poking it through the bands. And I'm going to pull that through. And the same on the other side. Find a spot beside her eyes and poke this through to the back. I have a little pair of pliers. You can use tweezers or your fingers if they're small enough. And I'm just going to pinch that together. And the same on the other side. Just pull that out a little bit from her face. And adjust her nose. And in the back, I'm just going to give that a little tiny twist or fold it over itself so they don't move too much once I've positioned them. And there we have Nicole. I will adjust her hair a little bit, and fiddle with it and play with it a little bit more until it sits more to my liking, and I'm just going to do that by repositioning where I've threaded through the extensions. Please comment below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Remember, like I said, this is only my third tutorial, so please be nice. And actually, no, I would love to hear your honest opinions. And if you make this, please post a picture of it. I would love to see it. Please like and subscribe. And my next tutorial, of course, will be Hayden, so stay tuned for that.